What up, though, y'all? I gotta welcome you to a very, very, very special episode of Juan-o's World. You know, it's been a lot of smoke in the city, a lot of things going on, a lot of dust being kicked up, a lot of people running amok. Who really gives a we're gonna start trying to stay monetized for this. We're gonna try, even if we don't succeed. But I got the bad man himself, so you may call it, Mr. Debo himself. Some may call him. Dogface Calderon in the building over here at Juan-o's World.
Mono's World, what's the word, man? It's Doggy Dog checking in, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to your viewership, bro. It's my pleasure. It's an honor. How you doing?
Man, I'm all right. And yourself? How your day going?
Oh, bro, I'm just working. I'm working.
Yeah.
No,
You know, the way people talk about you, I would have thought you wasn't hospitable.
um, so the one thing black people know how to do is to cast disparaging thought processes, or if there's one thing that black people know how to do, it is to put their fears and their trepidations on other black people to convince them that people who they don't like are bad people, so they shouldn't like them also.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, bro. People, it is what it is.
Yeah, that was a damn good point out because amongst our people, you will hear 10 bad things about somebody before you hear one good thing. And this person could have just did something decent for somebody. You
Yeah.
know, so
Absolutely, bro. It is what it is. It's a bunch of different things going on with black people, man, and people like us who are in the world of hope. Like we generals in the YouTube street, bro.
mhm.
For people who don't think that the term YouTube streets and in Detroit and Michigan, the person who brought that term to the forefront, you maybe you didn't invent it, but you sure put motherfuckers up on it. The
Yeah,
YouTube, yeah.
what I didn't understand is how relative they are. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because people really care about here. People care more about how they're being spoken on than anything. And what's funny is you got a lot of people being spoken on the internet in different places, but they only listening where they being spoken on is nice.
Mm.
Like people may speak about you in a good way on your Instagram. Them are your friends. People may
Mm.
speak about you in a loving way on Facebook because them are your family. But when you come over to YouTube, people gonna speak on you based on the collage of information that's out there about you.
It's uncharted territory, bro. You don't get to control it. We
Yeah.
don't. Neither one of us control the YouTube streets. We
Oh,
just
come
playing
on.
them. We just playing them.
Right. I just
We
got
just
my block.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got your block. This
Mm.
my block, you know, and and
Right.
and and you sell your product, I sell my product, and we
Mhm.
all frequent other people's blocks, whether to
Yeah.
buy, sell, or shoot at them.
We gonna damn sure do some shooting around this motherfucker. We damn sure go. We damn, we damn,
You doing you doing the most shooting.
nah, man. It feels good to be able to have an impact on just on people who are interested in hearing different perspectives, man. I appreciate it. Even if I don't like it, I can
Right.
appreciate people having a voice. The First Amendment is an important thing to me. It's freedom of speech, bro. It is what it is. I'm gonna like it. I'm not a thin skinned person. People say all kinds of shit about me, man. And you know, do I ever get aggravated at some of the things? Sometimes,
Mhm.
especially when I know it's not true. But then I take in consideration that I'm dealing with people who are talking about me from afar. They're not talking about
Mhm.
me to my face. So I,
Right.
I have to sometimes I have to remind myself um, not to let myself get too far gone with somebody's opinion when they're talking to me a million miles away. You hear me? It is what it
Right.
is.
Right. Does what's going on in the because you know more about the Detroit rap scene than I do. You've been around it longer, and then you've been able to play in it at a level I'm aspiring to make it to. Does the thing have the things you've seen since you've been involved? Does that aggravate you?
I mean, well, there's different components of the music business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I consider myself a part of the entertainment industry as a whole, not just music, right?
Okay.
There are things that make me happy, and there are things that make me sad when it comes to the world of entertainment. There are things that I wish I could change. There are things that I wish were not true. I wish that the opposite of what we know to be. So there are things about the music business that I wish were not true, but nevertheless they are true. So
Right.
understanding that they are true, whether you want them to be true or not, you
You
have to
got to deal with it.
you have to deal with it as it is versus
Right.
the way you wish it would be. The
Right.
music business, I always say the music business is cutthroat, bro. The world of entertainment is cutthroat because you're dealing with people who want to be famous. Period.
Right.
People are in the world of entertainment because they want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they would like, for the most part, for to be appreciated for what they bring to the table.
Right.
So I mean, you're dealing with people who they're actors for the most part. The YouTube streets is not controlled by actors; they're
Yeah.
controlled by real people from real walks of life who are
Yeah.
for better or worse, their perspective on whatever the subject is. Right?
Yeah.
We're not
That's
actors, we're not Tubi stars, bro. We are real people sitting right here, right? And things can happen to us. So, like when you have an actor or
okay.
actress, right?
Okay.
Right? They're playing roles. They're not real. When you think about Al Pacino, for example, right? Al Pacino is like one of the biggest criminal mastermind actors in the history of Hollywood, right?
That's how they look at them.
We know him to be Scarface. We know him to be
Yeah.
Carlito's Way.
Michael
We know him
Young.
to be Michael Corleone from Godfather 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3, right?
Sam Rothstein. He played some characters,
They play
some
some
real
characters.
life actors.
But we know that that's an actor. That's not him. We know that in real life, Al Pacino is one of the biggest philanthropists in the history of the world. We know he's given tens of millions of dollars away to charities all across the planet. He's a nice guy. We know that about him. So in YouTube, bro, what you see, what you get. It ain't no lights, camera, action with this shit. It is you have to command people's attention by what you say.
Right. The number one thing I notice about the YouTube streets is you got to be yourself, who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at a Gangster Williams, you know what I'm saying? Or you look at Kevin Samuels, whether people was agreeing with them when they came into this as being who they are, they was who they are, and that was able to go a long way. That's why Kevin Samuels been dead for damn near 5 years. He's still one of the biggest YouTubers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And when it comes to some of these other, go ahead.
No, you just hit it. You just hit it. It is you will leave an impression or an impressionable mark on society just based on being yourself. When it comes to YouTube, we have vloggers and we have podcasters and we have people who utilize YouTube and other platforms for a variety of different things. But when it comes to what we do, the YouTube streaks don't apply to vloggers or bloggers.
Right.
The YouTube streaks applies to podcasters because we control, right? It's a reason why, and you said some earlier, and I want to touch on it before we just move forward, right? You talked about how people they like you for your perspective, right? But sometimes even podcasters can become jaded and they can think too much of themselves because all they're hearing is people who are acknowledging the truth or the correctness of what they're saying, right? So it's just kind of like I'm a CNN fan, but I switch over to Fox News because I want to make sure that CNN ain't blowing smoke up my ass. So I want to hear.
This year they all been blowing smoke, but
I mean, it's crazy. It's absolute nonsense this year, bro. Did you vote? Did you vote?
I'm voting tomorrow. I think it's a bunch of bullshit going on. I got to put my vote in myself on that day.
Yeah, I mailed my ballot in.
I seen they had ballot boxes on fire, and then just well, me and you both articulate, so it's no need for whatever. I don't know which way you going, but I'm voting for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like over my businesses, like I'm mid-level. You know what I'm saying? And when you mid-level worth a ticket, but only dealing with 6, you know what I'm saying? What's been going on is real tricky. My insurance on my properties has went up. My taxes on my properties has went up because they gave away all this free money for down payments for people to buy houses that they couldn't afford at prices that was overvalued.
Mm-hmm.
And up until that gets worked out, I'm being robbed. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're not going to do a whole diatribe of why I'm going for Trump. But when I go to express this to someone that may ask me, and I'm giving them real life facts about how I'm individually affected by these matters, they come back at me with feelings about things that don't even help them. They're feeling a way about things that are inaccurate. You know, like the number one, go ahead.
No, I'm listening, bro. I'm listening.
Because number one thing people say something back to me about is being able to delete what you made a couple months ago. And it's like, nobody's taking that from you. You vote in your state for how you want that to be. What the man is saying, the federal government should have no place in that. We shouldn't be funding that. And then we should be pushing, like, because I got daughters, we should be pushing responsible decision making from the gate. And I feel like since we joined the Democratic Party, between the deletions of the kids, the drugs, the wars, the this and the that, we robbed ourselves of what our great-grandparents already had. We already had our own independent neighborhoods. You know, there was a time where all the beer and wine stores and car washes and things of that nature in Detroit was owned by Black people. Where Comerica Park, fucking Eddie Jackson and them owned all that stuff. You had blue-collar Black people owning stuff, white-collar, you know, whatever, or criminals owning stuff. Point being, we gave all that shit away to vote Democratic because they got Martin Luther King out of jail. Because all before then, Black people was Republican. And when you go in a Black person's house, I don't care how Democratic they are, when they close that door, it's going to get real fucking conservative.
Right.
And that's what kind of bothers me, because we live, for the most part, a conservative life. Like, I didn't know so many Black women had deletions until this came up, because that was a secret that they was doing that. But you talking about 60% of all deletions was Black women, and that ain't made us no more richer. That ain't made us no more responsible. That ain't got us no more out the ghetto. Matter of fact, that might have been how we gave away our generational wealth, because if you run your family right, it's a business within itself. I'm a little, but I can't have that conversation with somebody, bro. They won't even let me make it through the first sentence because they caught up on the feeling.
So listen, when it comes to political affiliation, when it comes to who you cast your ballot for, the cornerstone principle of understanding politics is, first you have to understand that politics is a business, right? It's not a church association. It's a business. You're dealing with people who are trying to run a corporation, a country, right? You're not going to agree with everything everybody does, because they're not pushing a program that only affects them. However, Black people, we are brand conscious, and we are a brand. We are Mercedes-Benz, we are Cadillac, we are Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada, whatever, right? And we look at politics the same way. We are brand conscious. We are loyal to what we're loyal to. That's one of our biggest Achilles heels, is that we are loyal to people without consistently and constantly examining whether what this particular political party is doing is beneficial to us. We're concerned with everybody else when everybody else is really only concerned about themselves. Like, for example, we're from Detroit. In Detroit, we have the largest Arab Chaldean population in the country. There are more Arabs and Chaldeans living in metropolitan Detroit than all other states combined, right?
Right. That's why Saddam got the key.
The Arab and Chaldean population of metropolitan Detroit, they go in and they sit and they talk to the mayor. They go in and they sit and they talk to the city council. Even the ones who don't live in Detroit, they still request audiences with city council members and the mayor and the different people who control the political landscape of the city of Detroit. Why? Because they understand that everything business, even if they don't live here, everything business, everything that affects their business and their commerce flows through Detroit if you're from the state of Michigan. So they commanded attention. And listen, all Arabs and Chaldeans, they don't all agree with each other. They don't all like each other, but they understand that there's a common goal that they want to see pushed that's going to have a positive impact on them as a whole, even if they don't individually agree with each other. Black people, we're so dispersed psychologically. We're so all over the place mentally that we can't even come together and agree on the things that are best for us and for us.
And you know why I think that is? Female leadership. Because that wasn't the problem.
Don't get me started, bro.
That was not a, I'm just saying, that was not a problem in a Black household when mother was not working.
Well, I'm gonna say,
go ahead, because you're older. Am I wrong?
I know you're not wrong, because listen, so the whole dynamic of the Black household has changed over the last 40, 50 years, and there are more women-led households due to no fault of their own. We're not going to blame it on the women. We're going to blame it on the lack of proper male leadership, right? You can never blame anything on a Black woman without first examining where we fucked up as men at. We allow, see, because the men are of any community. They're supposed to be the champions of the community. They're supposed to be the caretakers, the providers, the protectors, and the leaders. Black men have given up their leadership to go have fun with sport, play, and entertainment. So that leaves a Black woman to take care, to build a household, to take care of a household, absent the understanding or input of a man. Whose fault is that? It's not her fault, because the Black woman got to do what she got to do, what she got to do, while we as men, I'm saying, we go fuck off.
Right. I'm gonna take it a step further and say that I'm more Japanese with it. Fuck who fault it is. What's the problem? How do we fix it? You know what I'm saying? Because you absolutely right. There is a time when Black men got distracted, and obviously they let somebody knock on their door and say some things to their wife to get them out the house, and they're caught up in all kind of bullshit. That's pretty clear. Yeah. But it's like, what do we do now? And to get back, like, for example, I've never not been a leader, but I never not had a Black woman that loved me not grab my arm and try to get me to stand down when they saw me standing up, because they too scared to lose me in that way. Totally forgetting I need to lead. Like, I get it. You safe with me here that way, but I need to go further. And you got a lot of that going on.
Absolutely.
So, and that's just what
we're scared of. We're scared of our own selves, and we're scared of the future, right? And we're scared of our past. We're scared. Black people are scared of every goddamn thing right now, bro. You can't,
like they're scared of winning.
You can't be successful if you're scared of everything. You have to take chances. In the infamous words of Doughboy's Cash Out.
Go get
chances make champions, bro. If you take that chance, you can never be a champion, because success lies on the other side of whatever it is you're afraid of, bro.
Facts. And that's so I'll never back down from leadership, because you make it a great point. I'll never back down for leadership. But when I tell you there's not a Black woman under my umbrella that doesn't unnecessarily challenge my leadership based on their feelings, not based on me ever failing a test or me ever not being able. But like my mother, before I bought my first house, I tried to buy her a house in 2008. She like, oh no, hell no, I don't want to, the whole indoctrination of the responsibility of ownership, which would have ended up being the best thing ever had I had bought her that house. But now, after I done paid rent in I don't know how many places, now she's ready to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? Totally forgetting that would be a paid for house, and she could be going for a beach house now. Or better yet, the house that she's getting now, overpaying for, would be something that she could sell to get a mansion now. You know what I'm saying? So like, it kind of, I damn sure agree with what you're saying, but it's like, for those of us that's in leadership positions that's not folding, what do we do?
Well, listen, brother, we have to first understand that Black people especially Black people Black people the world over, but let's just concentrate on Black people in America. Right. We are woefully miseducated, and we are woefully undereducated. When I say miseducated, I might need to correct myself, because to say somebody is miseducated, it really implies that they've been educated to begin with, but just with the wrong thing. A lot of our people have not been educated at all, so they don't know what they don't know. And if you're living in a state of ignorance, right, it's always easier to wallow in that shit like a pig wallows in mud, right? We are living amongst people for the most part. If you're living in an urban environment, I don't care if you're from LA or from Maine. If you're living in a community that is predominantly black, for the most part, you're living with people who really don't know how to take their dreams and manifest them into the flesh. You're dealing with people who don't know, because listen, we didn't just get fucked up last week. We got fucked up 100 years ago.
It's been a process,
right? And so we have generational fear that has been passed down from one generation to the next. So by the time
carries memory.
By the time Big Mama passes on to the great great grandbaby, the great great grandbaby has been trained by people who are fearful as well.
Right.
You gotta break that shit through education.
Right. And let's not forget, y'all, DNA carries memory too.
Yes, it does. Absolutely does.
Because some of this fear, you don't even know you got it in you, but it's in there. You know what you just made me think about when you said that? And we could transition up out of here. Mm-hmm. When you said people don't not knowing they uneducated, that made me think about this Project 2025 shit. Like everybody forgot Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill. It's 1 million proposals getting wrote every year. 1 million lobbies getting done every year. It doesn't happen without all three branches of government saying it's okay. And that's a whole lot of people agreeing.
It's called co-equal branches of government.
Yeah.
Right.
So nobody could just make a proposal, even the president, and it becomes law tomorrow.
No, I mean, the president has certain executive privilege powers that he can enact for the betterment, for the protection of the country. For the most part, all that legislation has to go through the House and the Senate before it even hits his desk.
But you know what you just pointed out? The president got the power to lock that border down anytime he wants to, don't
he? Oh, yeah, because that's a part of defending the the infrastructure of the country. Hell yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to teach people without letting them know you're trying to teach them something. And I appreciate
it's called tricking them. You backdoor that shit. Because if they know that you are trying to teach, they look at teaching as preaching, and black people, they don't.
Niggas gonna really be mad. Like, hold on, the nigga dog faced and just took me to history class and civics.
No, it just is what it is, bro. I observe life, so that's just what it is.
So, do you think the internet will be entertained by this version of you?
No,
I think they would.
No, listen. So I explained the difference between social media and YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. Social media is a human psychological wrecking ball experience. Social media, whether it be TikTok, Twitter, what the other shit is, all that shit, they want to see you crash out. They want to see you act out. They're not there to listen to your motherfucking political insights or your social engineering. They don't give a fuck, but they want to see you crash. They want to be entertained. Whereas YouTube offers, and I'm not saying that you don't have some educational components on social media, but for the most part, social media is just like, it is no jumper on wax. It is WWE, WWF. It is ignorance magnified on the ultimate level. Whereas YouTube is more like a common place to hear commentary, to hear pontification, to hear insightful words or inflammatory words or hateful words about whatever the particular subject is.
Depending on your taste, because that's a good way of putting that. Because I got my car enthusiast, I got my news, you know what I'm saying? I got my history, and then I got people like you know what I'm saying, that I follow that's entertaining, and then there's people like Boogie that we know what he do with the words, and then there's motherfuckers like up for debate that's coming from the side, you know what I'm saying? Well, like, is this something to argue about, or these are the rules and regulations? He got to, so having that, but on social media,
bro, on YouTube, no, saying on YouTube, there's a search engine,
right?
That search engine, you can say how to build a garage, how to tear out the engine, how to add house siding, how to mix and master a record, how to paint a house appropriately, how to update your computer.
How to not be a simp.
There's a search engine on YouTube. Here's the difference between YouTube and social media. There's a search engine that will take you to whatever you want to know, like a Googleable fact on YouTube. On Instagram, you can't type in how to build something and be taken to a page that teaches you how to build something. There's no search engine for that.
Right.
We searching personalities and people. On YouTube, we searching things.
Right. Or likes. Because that's really what it's going to show you first. Who got the most likes? What's the most popular? Who the most naked?
Who's the highest algorithm? Yeah.
Right. Right. It's like they a whole nother hood. Is they the ops?
They may be.
They may be.
They may be.
We go over there on Instagram and shoot that shit up every night.
Listen, I warned them on Hot 107.5 the other day. I warned them we will not be controlled. We will not be influenced. We will not be intimidated. We will not be led by the hand. We ain't doing that shit. The YouTube streets, we ain't got no big homies.
Man.
We ain't got no OGs. Y'all can miss us with that shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And while we on that topic, we might as well go on get into it. If somebody was an OG, that comes with a whole lot of responsibility and self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
let's start right there first, though, bro. Let's start with the responsibility. So if there was OGs, we have people who have been on this platform longer than others, right? But that don't mean just because you've been here longer than somebody else. See, the confusion comes in where people think that being an OG means that you're just older than somebody else. No, that means you're an old head. Right. That means that a motherfucker ain't bust your bitch ass head and you've been allowed to grow old. That don't mean you're an OG, bro. That's the biggest misconception in the world. Just because you're older than everybody else don't mean you an original gangster. That ain't what the fuck that means.
Is it an in-between point? Like, don't nobody like you followed the rules, but maybe like you followed the rules and you've been a good player, but you didn't make it to the
term OG means what it means. The term OG means that you're an original gangster.
Right. No, I'm saying like, is it a midpoint between being an OG and an old head?
No.
Okay.
An old head is just a motherfucker who just managed to live longer than somebody else.
Okay.
So it is. OG, there's responsibility. There's qualifications that must be met in order to qualify for that title. OG is a title.
Right.
That
and you have to continue to meet qualifications yearly to maintain that title.
Listen, once you've reached OG status, if you violate the rules and regulations of what we consider to be gangster, then you are no longer OG, you are old fuck nigga. Right? It's different between big unky or unk. Unk don't come with no respect. Unk just mean you're old nigga. OG is a term of endearment, a person recognizing that you are qualified and that you are worthy to be considered somebody whose opinion matter. Big unky don't mean your opinion matter.
Now that's why I was asking you about that, because unk shows a little more respect than old head.
Yes, it does.
That does. That's that unk.
Yeah, because listen, if I don't have no respect for you, I ain't calling you unk.
Right.
I call you old head. Old head mean you an old ass nigga.
Right. That's why I was asking. Is it a mid? It gotta be a midpoint between being an old head and an OG.
I guess unk. Unk can be, because unk means like young guys don't call motherfuckers unk who they don't have any respect for whatsoever. Now being big unky or unk doesn't mean you gangster. Don't mean you in the street. It just means that you
got a flaw too.
Yeah, yes, it does. Absolutely.
Unk always got a flaw too.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know Unk gonna be 100 for me. I know he love me, but he does gotta, like, Unk may get drunk. You know, Unk gamble.
But Unk is still a good nigga though.
Yeah.
I still can learn a thing or two from Unk. They ain't got nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying? Unk gonna teach me about my baby mama and why she doing what she doing, saying what she saying. Right. Unk gonna pull my coat to shit. You know what I'm saying?
Unk still got his 87 Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
And he got his jewelry from back then. And you know, he can still
Unk gonna break the fight up. Unk gonna break the fight up. Unk gonna break the fight up. If you're losing And Unc gonna break the fight up if you win it because Unc understands that if you keep on pounding on dude, you're gonna find yourself in a precarious situation.
Right. I'm gonna get rid of the dirty gun.
Unc will. Unc will kind of like what's the movie with Lawrence Fishburne and
most definitely.
And when he grabbed no, baby boy.
Baby boy. Oh, Melvin.
Yeah, big Melvin. When baby boy came through with that, and as that situation jumped off, Melvin grabbed, give me see this, baby. Give me this. And go.
He knew what to do.
Yeah. But he OG though, but that was an unky move though. That was a big unky because I know you don't.
He was legit. He got a job now.
Yeah. So he put the OG shit down because he recognized that I spent majority of my life propagating this bullshit and it's got me nowhere.
Right.
That was the message. It wasn't about Melvin going to prison or being a gangster. It was about I've been there, done that, young dog, and you don't know what the fuck you're getting into. I know you ain't gonna listen, but I'm gonna be there for you when you least suspect it to help your dumb ass out. That's big uncle.
Right. That's on. Now it's good. That's a damn good point, man, because within our own city, it seemed like a lot of people may have been living images or in positions that maybe they should not have been, or maybe they had to live up to. And I agree with you, but then I also understand how it is to wake up one day and you got a pair of shoes on that you wanted that you just can't fit.
Mm-hmm.
And you jump out the window trying to grow your feet into them bitches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And is that one of the things that annoy you?
Let me tell you what annoys me.
I'm listening.
What annoys me is fakeness. What annoys me with so there are different levels of this shit. When it comes to just the streets, I've lived in the streets
right
almost my entire life. The first time I ever got locked up, it was 1984. I remember it. It was April 12th, 1984. It was the first time I ever went to youth home.
And that make you 13, 14?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. No, I think I was 12, 13. You know what I'm saying? In 84, I turned 12. Yeah, I was 12. First time I ever got locked up was 12. I went to youth home. I would like to say that I didn't know any better, but I knew better. I just did what I wanted to do. You feel me? It's not like I didn't know any better. I saw opportunity to get something I want, and I took it. Literally took it. Right? Literally. You know what I'm saying?
It happens.
So when it comes to the things that aggravate me, bro, I'm at the age now where I understand why I'm like a social engineer, so to speak. I understand what makes human beings tick, specifically black people, because I'm black. Doesn't matter what city or state you're from. Black people in America all have certain things in common. We have more in common than we have not in common, right? So I know that when it comes to human beings, you can add, subtract, multiply, or divide different factors in a person's life, and those things can influence and impact who that person grows to become. Like, for example, I know people who were born and raised in West Bloomfield, Auburn Hills, Waterford, Rochester. They had seemingly every advantage in the world, right? And I know of us who grew up in the ghetto, from Pontiac to Flint to Royal Oak Township to Highland Park to Detroit to Inkster, whatever, who all the odds that you can think of were against them, and they went on to be successful. I knew people who grew up in Bloomfield whose mother was a doctor, daddy was a lawyer or a businessman, and them kids grew up to be drug addicts and dope fiends and wind up in the penitentiary. So you can take it is more about your immediate environment, because people think, well, you grew up in West Bloomfield, you grew up in Rochester, so you should be this, that, the third. Man, listen, you have successful people who bear kids, but they might be successful financially, but psychologically and morally, they might be bankrupt or corrupt as a motherfucker. So they're really raising a flawed kid or a flawed child with a flawed concept and perspective of life that they're going to grow up to be not shit. On the flip side of that, you can have somebody who live on Mac and Bewick who ain't never seen their goddamn daddy. And mama on dope, but the big mama raised them, and big mama took them to church. Big mama whooped their ass when need their ass whooped. Big mama didn't have a bunch of money for Air Jordans and shit, but she kept them clean, right? And those through the guiding hand of somebody who really loved them and care took them and nurtured them properly, they grew up with a moral code. They started at a disadvantage financially, but they grew up with the strength and the resilience to blow past anything they may try to stop them. Right. So it ain't about how much money you got. It's about what the integrity of what happens inside your immediate environment. That is what's going to be your guiding principle. Those are going to be the things that can like push you towards success or failure. So when it comes to your question about what aggravates me, basically what you're saying, bro, I know these niggas. I'm understanding these niggas. Nothing that these niggas do surprise you. I've talked to you a million times, and you have never seen the register of surprise or shock on my face, right?
No, it's typically me that's surprised.
Yeah, I'm not.
I gotta call you and be like, you know what, you was right.
Yeah, I know niggas. So I don't want to say that I am a skeptic in terms of, but I know what I know. I know human beings. Right. I know what niggas will do. That's why I try my best to safeguard myself and to safeguard my family, right? And even when I was in the street, for real, right? I always tried to put my family in a situation where harm wouldn't touch them based on the shit I was doing. That's why most recently when a nigga put my family's address online, when you look at his concept was, I'm going to try to win by any means necessary. That's like saying, I'm going to try to stay free. Well, I got to tell on a nigga. Well, I got to cross my man out. Ain't no motherfucking moral code there. It's just a nigga will do anything. I'm not willing to do anything. Like, for example, we talk about Al Nuke right now, right?
Right. Al Nuke.
I know what Al Nuke. I know where Al Nuke lives. I know where he lives. Right. I know where his children live.
Right.
I showed you their addresses.
But you know better than
I would never. And my point to you, not publicly, I know where he lives. I know where his children reside. I know where the mother of his children reside. Right. I know where people in his family live. But in my dispute with him, good, bad, or ugly, there are certain things that I'm not willing to do because it ain't gangster. And I understand that whatever issue I got with you, nigga, I got it with you. Like, for example, I can get mad at you right now. You can invite me to your house right now, right? I can get mad at you tomorrow. I'm never going to repeat anything that I've seen happen in your household. If I'm mad at you, my nigga, I'm mad at you about what I'm mad at you about. If you did some shit 6 months ago to me that I don't like, and I didn't say anything about it 6 months ago,
you gotta let that go.
I'm gonna let that go, right? There's gangster conduct that is universally understood. You don't get to jump in and out of the gangster role like an actor in a movie when it suits or fits what you want to do.
Now I gotta. I'm not shooting back, but I gotta remember the earlier point you made about some people might not have been educated at nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I first came into, even though I'm more on the hustler side, when I first came into it, it was an education with it. Just because I knew the person that had the pure, clean quality didn't mean that I could get it. You understand? I had to go about it my own way with him watching me until I made it up to a point where he, put his arm around me and taught me. But before he was willing to even deal with me, he had to watch me get fucked over a couple of times so I understood some things before I got put on his line. And my thing is, I think some of these guys have never been made to understand there's some things that need to be understood before they got money or before they got fame or before they got whatever. So they may not have never been qualified in the first place. Like I was asking you about Durk. I personally think, now, I was a nerd around killers, but if I said no, everybody respected it because they knew I would fight, whether I was going to lose or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Dirk had the pull to be able to say, no, we gonna let this go, and he still keep his crew tight. I think they would have looked at him to eat off of him if he said no. I could be wrong, but I think that situation is similar to some of these people who found their pants in the dog's in the dog's grip. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Brother. When it comes to Dirk, what happened to Dirk happens to we talk about it because it's Dirk and because of who he is and because of his status in the world of entertainment and in the black community because of his celebrity and the money that he has. But what Dirk is going through, you have thousands of young black men and women who are going through something similar, who instead of doing what they know is right, they allow the noise and the chatter from people who don't give a fuck about them whatsoever to push them to do things that I'm not going to say is not right. I'm going to say that's not the most appropriate, reasonable, logical thing to do at any given point in time. You
Right.
looking for there's a such thing as walking a nigga down,
Most
right?
definitely.
I think allegedly we because I ain't gonna keep on saying allegedly. I'm gonna
Right.
say it one time, and that one time is right now.
Right.
There was a thirst to have some immediate get back. I think that he allowed. I think if he is in fact deemed responsible for what they say he's charged with,
Mhm.
I think it all has to be traced back to him being peer pressured, not just by his inner circle. Because
You think
how dare we assume that his status doesn't reverberate up and down his immediate chain? Dirk
right,
ain't surrounded by the dumbest niggas in the world. So we
right,
thinking about the drilling and the killing that go on in Chicago, but Dirk is also surrounded by some intelligent people like his father who taught him Islam, right?
right.
So he's not just around dumbass niggas, but sometimes the dumbass nigga, the noise, the chatter, the white noise from dumbass niggas can overtake sound and reasonable noise from people who really have your best interest at heart. So I'm not going to say that Dirk was influenced by people who, because he's the only star in his crew.
Yeah.
Without him, people go hungry, right? So whatever he says goes. I think that Dirk was more of allegedly, I think that Dirk was probably more affected by what people he don't even know,
Mm.
the trollers, the pontificators, the YouTube streets.
Right. And I want to let y'all know some of the people in the YouTube streets is fed. Some of these bots that try to antagonize you
Yeah,
and suggest things or say little things, some of them motherfuckers is the feds and the police. Please know that. Please
right.
know
So I think the noise. I think him wanting to prove a point, or his crew, or somebody around wanting to show the world that we are not pushovers, that we will not allow this thing to happen to go unchallenged.
And that's crazy because he wasn't the biggest artist, but he has been exercising vertical control over the music industry from the streets to the executive board. To nigga Drake got a question Dirk, can he do a song with a motherfucker? That's a lot of power. I don't see how you can get pulled.
Dirk is a superstar, bro. Dirk is a superstar. Period. Dirk is a superstar, just like NBA YoungBoy, just like
Yeah.
the Rod Waves of the world.
But it's like he more of a, even though NBA sold more records, got more pull, more power. It's like Dirk a big like he
That's because NBA hasn't been allowed to travel and move around because he's been in trouble with the law for 5-6 years. So he kind of like he ain't been allowed to go on tour. He ain't been allowed to really move around. So he boxed in. You feel me?
right. I
That's
could
why.
not just
If YoungBoy was allowed to move around and wasn't on house arrest for the last since 1923, it would be what it would be.
Man, speaking of that, man, I was looking at this labels and things like that with motherfuckers that got a label full of gangsters or whatever. I see this nigga Gucci Man dropping all his artists or whatever and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it come down to matters of, because you had artists, when do you decide whether to pull the plug or not?
When it becomes too much of a burden, when the upside of a particular or individual artist becomes more when it becomes detrimental to my financial status, when it becomes detrimental to what I'm trying to do, when an artist starts to move against the things that I think are best for him and best for me, then it's time to separate. Sometimes people just, you can be on the same page today, and tomorrow there are things that can happen that can cause you guys to, have diverging thought processes about, what you think should happen. So it is always about what you think, especially if you are the person who's footing the bill.
Man, so you do understand both sides of it, like
I do.
cutting off and putting.
Yeah.
So
I'll cut a lot of motherfuckers off. Let them tell it they cut me off. But how you gonna cut the motherfucker off who making things happen, who taking you to the radio station, who getting your song on the radio, who taking you to Hell of a, taking you to Ant Beats, taking you to Crazy Legs, taking you to the Two Sides, taking you to Wiz Kid City V, taking you to whoever.
And I'm personally telling you, having money to pay for these things does not automatically grant you access to these things. Because
there are a bunch of niggas who get money who spinning their motherfucking wheels, not just in Detroit, but across the goddamn country. Right.
And that's the whole thing. Like, okay, so you got the image of a crusader, like it or love it, or hate it or love it, more so of a vigilante for the whole state. Do you like that look?
So I'm a man who has an opinion.
Right.
My opinion is based on what I think is right and appropriate, whether somebody else thinks is right or appropriate or not. I have a moral code. I'm standing on shit.
Most definitely.
I am not willing to bend or break because I don't have to. Right? I'm independent of. I'm an independent operator because I'm in a position and I'm fortunate enough to be able to be that. I'm not signed to any particular philosophy like an artist signed to a label.
Hold on. I can't let you shortchange yourself like that. You can't just say fortunate. You had to take sacrifices. You had to take whatever it was you did.
No. So the whole thing is nobody. So I don't really talk about my own I talk about the shit I get. I don't talk about
I feel you. But motherfuckers look at somebody like you and it's like, nigga, I'm supposed to have a Rolex too. And it's like, hold on, bro. Niggas might need to know about, not you gonna specifically tell them, but niggas might need to know, like, you sacrificed a whole lot in the beginning to have a better ending. Because these motherfuckers, on my page, I do a lot of mentoring. Motherfuckers want to make birthday cakes with pancake mix, bro. And I can't have a millionaire on my show and let it go out that you could just be fortunate and be a millionaire, because you could win the lottery for 10 million and be broke.
When I say that I'm blessed and fortunate enough to be able to control my own destiny as it specifically relates to the world of business or entertainment, that's just the way. That's the fact. That's what it is, right? How I got there is a story. It's a journey. Bro, listen. I did 17 years in the penitentiary, bro. When I came home from prison, I got 2 jobs. 2. I was a janitor at Michigan Desserts in Oak Park on Capitol. It was Myers Food Internationals. I was a janitor there. Right?
Cut through the street for the semi trucks.
Yeah, cut through. Exactly what it is.
They won't not fix that damn street.
I was a janitor there. I made my first job was there. I was a janitor, right? I knew how to be a janitor because I was in prison all the years, bro. I know how to mop floors, strip and wax floors. I know how to clean bathrooms. I did it in prison. You know what I'm saying? At some point, not my whole bit, right? If you in prison,
so basically you did a good job at them jobs.
Yeah, good enough job to be, and I was different because I came from the penitentiary, so I was serious about shit. Motherfuckers out here in the street, relax days ago, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. I started off as a janitor. This is a little known fact. I started off as a janitor. Let me tell you my journey. I started off as a janitor at Myers Food Internationals in Oak Park. I went from a janitor to, shout out to my man John Smalls, man, my LA cat. He a Puritan cat. He a Puritan cat in Detroit, man. And a lot of guys off they know John because he had the cherry red 6-4 Impala back in the day. Light skinned John.
Okay.
He was working there, bro, and he worked in the main department. He taught me how to drive a high-low. Right? I did 17 years. I did 17 years in prison. I came home and I was fortunate enough to be able to come home to a situation where I had money. I was comfortable. I had cars. I had clothes. You would have never known that I did 17 years in prison because I didn't look like it. Right. I didn't come home with no do-rag on my hair, teeth missing, pants hanging off my ass, talking dumb shit. I came home getting right on my job. I had children that I had left out here who were grown by the time I made it back to freedom. So I worked as a janitor. I went from a janitor to a high-low driver. Right. I left that job and I went to JCI Bridgewater, which is a part supplier automotive company. They made headliners, dashboards, door panels for Ford vehicles, right?
They cut out the plastic parts.
Right, exactly. I went there as a janitor. I left there and I went to another JCI facility that was loosely affiliated with that one as a janitor. Meanwhile, I'm still having motion in this. Right. I'm still
this when you doing you the rapper dog face at this time.
Bro. No, hell no. I wasn't no motherfucking rapper, bro. I wasn't no motherfucking rapper. I just come out of the penitentiary, bro. I didn't give a fuck about no rap shit, bro. I came home and had to get to it. Right.
So what year finish with the story and I'm gonna ask then because this is shit.
I went from a janitor. I did such a good job as a janitor, and this is I never told this story before. You're getting this first. I did such a good job. I did such a good job as a janitor that I'll never forget this. And people who know this job, know this facility, know. I was at JCI Bridgewater out in Warren on Van Dyke and Tank Ave. So when Martin Road comes to Van Dyke, so from Van Dyke going eastward is Martin Road. Right. And then from Van Dyke going westward, it's called Tank Avenue because that's what JCI Bridgewater is there. The facilities manager of that location, her name was Ann K. She has a Greek name, it's hard to pronounce, so everybody called her Ann K, right? Ann K, she seen my work ethic, bro. I was out of prison maybe, and these things transpired fast. I was out of prison maybe 3 months.
You still serious with it, though?
Right? No, out of 3 months. I was out of prison 3 months. Right. I went from there as the janitor as the lead janitor over the facility to because JCI Bridgewater had multiple locations. They had one in Southwest Detroit, one in Dundee, Michigan, one in Plymouth, Michigan, one right outside of Lansing, right? And they had one in Ohio, right around the Toledo, Swanson area.
Okay.
I went from just a janitor to a supervisor to a trainer, right? Oh. She took me from the company I worked for and made me a trainer over all the facilities inside the JCI Bridgewater branch. So I went from making $13 an hour to making $80,000 a year in 2 months, right?
Off work ethic.
I went from that job to a position became available, and a lot of niggas from Toledo know who I am, and this is why. I went from the trainer of the janitorial squad for JCI Bridgewater all over the state of Michigan and in Northern Ohio to the site operations manager of the GM powertrain plant off of Lexus Road in Toledo. I was in charge of the entire facility. I wasn't even out of prison 6 months, bro.
Man, that's a hella fast story.
That job paid me $125,000 a year. And I wasn't even out of prison 6 months, my guy.
And you got that off work ethic.
Off work ethic. I ain't need listen. And once a month they had what you call a PSRB meeting, where all the department heads of the plant came together and did a report out about the things that were happening in their apartment, right? Right. Bro, I had just did 17 years. I don't know. I had to do a PowerPoint presentation. My kids had to teach me how to do a PowerPoint, how to create a PowerPoint, bro. Listen, I rehearsed that fucking PowerPoint presentation like a motherfucker, like a presidential speech. I went there. Listen. Every department here, I was the site operations manager over the physical building.
Word.
2.5 million square feet. right? And I was the site operations manager over unionized employees. The local 900, which is the pipe fitters union, and the local 400. Shout out to Ray Woods, who was the UAW president, and Steve Rubley, who was the regional UAW man for the local 400 in the state of Ohio, right? The UAW, right? I walked into that meeting I walked into union meetings. They did not know that I had just left prison 6 months. Right?
At that point, they didn't care, did they?
They didn't have a clue because I didn't look like it. I didn't sound like it, right? I wasn't in prison just living weights, which I was doing that too, but I wasn't in there. I was reading, educating myself, reading popular science, reading popular mechanic, trying to prepare myself for the eventuality when I was going to get released, right? I went
to that vocabulary and all that shit was on point,
bro. I went to the PSRB meeting, bro. I know I'm boring your subscribership, bro, but I went to that PSRB meeting with all the department heads of that plant. Everybody from Toledo. I hired hundreds of people into the GM powertrain plant in Toledo, hundreds of them. So a lot of niggas from the streets of Toledo, they know me. I had became dog face during this whole time, right? They know me. Right. That's our site operations manager. That's Big Unk. That's the OG. I wasn't wearing that penitentiary shit on my sleeve, bro.
Right. And see, and I'm glad I was able to tie all that in.
Bro, listen, don't nobody give a fuck you was in prison, bro. You can't pay no motherfucking bills with that. You can't take care of your kids off of you been in the penitentiary. Who gives a fuck about that shit? Bro, I went to that every month there was a PSRB meeting. Anybody who worked into the automotive industry knows that this is true. Once a month you have a meeting, there's a report out of what happens in your department. Bro, I'm in there with motherfucking Nigerian engineers who went to Ivy League schools.
Yeah, so everybody watching everybody presentation.
I'm in there with motherfuckers from Germany who work for GM, who were from Germany or from Afghanistan. I'm in there with these motherfuckers, and when it's my time to go, I gotta get up and talk about everything. And right.
And you running the building from the grass getting cut to the employees being safe.
I'm running listen, so the GM powertrain plant in Toledo at that point in time, it was a test facility for GM. They're the first GM plant that had robotic high-lows. So the floors in the facility were all coated with special graphic shit and membrane shit to guide the fucking high-lows and the robotic equipment around, right? We were walking around like Tesla robot. We were walking around the facility with robots that could talk to you. Right. And I'm scared as a motherfucker because that's technology. Nigga, I'm fried of penitentiary. Like, what? Robot walk up to you, talk to you, a big ass, heavy, 100,000-pound robot who can crush your ass if it malfunctions. So I've been around technology long before we ever got into Tesla or anything, right? So I went from there. I went from the GM powertrain plant as a site operations manager to Chrysler. Al Nuke said I worked for Ford. I didn't work for Ford, Al Nuke. I worked for Chrysler. I worked for the Sterling stamping plant on 15 Mile in Van Dyke.
But more important than that, I'm glad you just pointed that out. More important than that, he was talking to me, a person with a day job, dissing people who had a job. Now, my job experience was a little bit more, than yours. I had coming out of selling, because that's one thing. We look at people that go to prison, it's like they've been in prison, but what we don't look at is people that's been trapped in the street. Like to some degree, they still been institutionalized as well. And I went through a whole major transition with going legit, but that's neither here nor there. Him speaking negatively about somebody having a job, it kind of bothered me a little bit because
what did he speak negatively about?
I mean, he didn't say. I mean, it was generally on his Instagram when he was like, "Well, the nigga worked at Ford. He never smoked. He never drank."
Let me stop right there, bro. Listen. In his zeal to try to discredit me, he said some things that anybody his age can readily understand as inappropriate and foolhardy, right? You're trying to make a point by saying that I am not who I am because I had a job. Listen to what you're communicating to the world. Listen to the angle you're taking in an attempt to discredit me. Oh, you had a job. The job you talked about, oh, you was at Ford. I was at Chrysler. I was the overnight supervisor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was the overnight supervisor at Chrysler, bro.
That's major.
So that's one. I went from Chrysler, Sterling Stepping Plant, to Detroit Metro Airport. And somebody commented, how did he get to the airport? He'd been in prison before. Let me explain something to you people who don't know what life has to offer for you. Just because you have a history of getting in trouble does not mean that you are excluded from participating in certain things that life has to offer. Like for example, in Florida, if you catch a conviction, you can't vote. In Michigan, you get convicted of something. When you come home, you can do what? Vote, right? No. So when I heard him saying, "Oh man, you work for Ford." No, I work for Chrysler, dumbass nigga.
But shit, it's deeper than that.
No.
Go ahead, my bad.
So you work for Chrysler. I'm a nigga fresh out the penitentiary. I know motherfuckers who do 4 or 5 years who come home and can't get right. I came home with the understanding that I'm going to do everything in my power to be as successful as I possibly can and utilize every tool that I have at my disposal to be that, whether it's in the street or whether it's legit. I grew up understanding that motherfuckers say the best hustlers are motherfuckers who have a job too.
Right.
Because how do you justify what it is you have, right?
Without a job.
Bro, I had never had no credit when I came home, bro. I was 21 when I went to prison. I hadn't utilized my credit yet, bro. I came home and I get myself right? I went from there to the airport. Well, how he work at the airport? I saw him working at the airport. He was a supervisor at the airport. Here's what you niggas don't know. The federal government has more lenient hiring practices than the private sector. Right? Let me say that again. The federal government has more lenient hiring practices than the than the private sector. What do I mean by that? So check these facts. You can work in a federal facility like the airport, which is federal property, is controlled by the FAA, right? Right. You can work at a federal facility, but not as a law enforcement officer. You can work inside the airport as long as your felonies are 10 years old.
Right.
I spent 17 years in prison.
Right.
So when I came home, I was already
past the point.
Already past that point. And number two, because I've been on the highest levels I've been an executive.
That's the point I was about to make.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I went from the airport to Cisco Systems, the food distribution company. I was the site operations manager over Cisco Systems in Canton on Van Born Road. Right? I hired many of a black man from Inkster, from Detroit, right? I was in charge of the hiring and firing.
Oh, I'd hate to see you fire a nigga.
Oh, I fired me a motherfucking new job. We got to go. Right? So listen, I was in charge of the Canton facility, and they had just opened up a facility right outside of Chicago. So they put me in charge. I had 2 assignments. I was the site operations manager over the Canton facility of Cisco Systems, and we call it the Illinois, the Chicago branch, but the facility was right outside of Chicago. I think it was in. I don't know if it was in Springfield, but it was right outside of Chicago, right? And I was in charge of that facility as well. I get paid 2 checks. I made total maybe $160,000 a year.
Killed them.
Right?
Killed them.
and that was all the way up until 2017.
See?
2017. So in the meantime, in between time, I was acquiring property, right? I have property in my company name. I have property in my children's name. I have property in my name. In the state of Michigan alone, I own 23 pieces of property, residential property. I own 4 pieces of commercial property. I own property in Florida. I own property in land in Alabama. My family, originally from Alabama, I'm buying up every piece of motherfucking acre I can find in Lee County, Phoenix City, Alabama, in Bessemer, Alabama, in Huntsville, Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm buying parking lots. I'm buying vacant fields. I'm buying whatever I can buy.
Just because.
Because the one thing God ain't making no more of is land. You can tear a building down, put something else up, but that land ain't going no motherfucking where. Right. So to your point, and I'm sorry I cut you off.
You good?
I'm bro. You trying to shame me?
It's just the one point I wanted to make.
Go ahead.
Once you got them qualifications, then you in the door. Because once one company that certified you, that next company, you got a they'll do whatever.
That's right. You just said it.
They need you. And that's what I be, because like I say, most of the things I be looking for the redemption in the story. And a lot of people, like you said, they're just wallow in shit. But it's like, yo, you got this qualification. Somebody already put a title on you, certified. You can use that to go to your next step. But motherfuckers be so busy giving up and quitting and shit before they think it's crazy.
Listen, bro. And listen, when we living in a day where a motherfucker can try to attack a motherfucker, or he had a job, he worked. We in Michigan. Well, listen. We in Michigan, bro. Where do you think the majority of people who have jobs, who taking care of their families, work at?
Come on,
inside of the big 3. So, he had a job. I was in upper management the whole time. I wasn't standing on the line, and I'm not saying standing on the line is a bad thing, because I was willing to do what I had to motherfucker do to make sure I had some of my own. Right? So
that's what's important for motherfuckers.
Listen, if anybody listened to how a motherfucker tried to attack me, bro, and how a nigga was just throwing shit at the wall trying to see what would stick, when that was happening, I'm talking to you. I'm sitting here. You calling me? I'm making me a smoothie while a nigga trying to attack me on Instagram. Say I'm lying. When you ain't lying, man. You call me was out. Ooh, nigga, I'm making smoothies, nigga. Say I'm lying. I'm adding peanut butter.
You're not lying.
I'm laughing at this shit, bro. Cause you know what? When I walk outside, that car costs $100,000.
Right.
I
was my whole thing was, nigga, I'd have been shitting the brick. Like, nigga, you trying to shut my YouTube, and I don't even make money off YouTube. It's just something I built.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something, right? The one thing I know about a nigga, a nigga will try niggas are crab, a nigga, not a black person. A nigga will do all things unscrupulous based on envy, hatred, and jealousy to try to walk a motherfucker over a cliff. Al Nuke knows the kind of motherfucker I am, and the things that have transpired over the last 4 or 5 days have let you know, and even a casual observer know, this nigga know what it really is, because he quantified what it really is when he responded to the boxing match, right? Now don't forget, he said this. That nigga for Pontiac.
He did.
He was from Pontiac.
He did.
Right? He knew I was from Pontiac, bro. I've been getting interviewed for 1 million years, my nigga. I have been getting interviewed for 1 million years, and he even lightweight made reference to it when we did the More Than Music shit with Flosslot and BZ back in 2012.
Yep, and that was one of the points of contention between us. I told him, I'm like, yo, man, hold on. While I got you here, we're gonna do both. Because he wanted me to promote the fact that he was gonna come on my show. And when I told you he was gonna come on my show, you said he was not.
Mm-hmm.
and this is gonna be the
not today, but
yeah. You
wow.
said you before you told me. That's why I know you think people don't be listening. You
Mm-hmm.
told me he was going to eventually call me and
Mm-hmm.
say what he said,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you
because he needs you. He needs your platform now. He needs you. He needs your platform now. Listen. He can't. Did you know Al Nuke? He heard. How did Al Nuke know who Juan-o's world is? Because he's watching and he's listening, and like he says, he's utilizing the art of war and the 48 laws of power. All that, and we're gonna get to that too, right? But
dangerous knowledge.
it is beyond that, bro. It is dangerous in the hands of the uninitiated, people who don't really understand where that teaching comes from. That teaching is not a standalone teaching that comes from itself. It comes from war tactics. It comes from what we call Edomites. The conscious-minded 5% refer to those people where that came from as the Edomites, right? So here's my point, bro. A motherfucker say, you're from Pontiac. You're no gangster. Let me be acting like this bitch, nigga. You're from Pontiac. You're no gangster. You're a nerd. I'm a gangster. Yeah. I have shot people and I've been indicted. I've been this. I've been beating Fed cases. I've been this, that, and third. All right. Let's add it up. Let's go. Let's one side, another side. Well, y'all ain't supposed to take this shit to the internet, bro. I didn't take it to the internet. Al Nuke says that you recorded my conversation.
Yeah.
You know why I recorded your conversation? Because you called me asking me about what I had going on with Street Lord Juan. And I already know you a bitch ass nigga. I already know that you've been feeding Rollo and QCP information about me based on watching me get into it with them on YouTube. So I'm already not trusting your mealy mouth bitch ass nigga. So when you call me, I'm thinking it's already the switch is getting off bail. Because why you calling me about Juan? I know you a Juan dick sucker, nigga. I know that. So when I didn't call him.
He called you.
He called me.
Right.
Asking me about Juan.
Right. And y'all, and let's not leave this out. Y'all already wasn't really speaking.
Bro, listen. Right. He didn't know. He didn't know that I knew that he was feeding QCP them information about me. Right. You heard what Freeze said. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers, he tried to reach out Al Nuke when he heard that me and QCP had gotten into it earlier this year. This nigga had reached out to QCP camp, trying to get to him, right? Trying to get a direct line to him with offering information about me, right?
Which is crazy.
What he did not know is that QCP got a lot of problems with niggas in his own family, his cousins and shit like that. They don't all get along. They don't all get along, which is why P migrated to Miami officially, right? Okay. He don't get along with his family. A lot of people in his family, they are affiliated.
So that shit with his mom's put out was true. That wasn't no fluff.
True. Absolutely true.
Okay, enough said, because she
that thing P is street nigga. So all this shit about it was cool with him to tell because he's a civilian, that ain't true.
That was another misconception that he was a goody two shoes.
No, it's not true. I'm telling you, it's not true. Without getting into all the man's business and
right. We ain't doing no tattletale.
No, we ain't got to even say that. I'm telling you, he ain't no civilian. He a street nigga, period. Right. Of course, if you get 20, 30 million, you ain't gotta do that shit no more.
Right.
Unless you stupid. Unless you Lil Durk.
Yeah. We ain't supposed to be laughing at the little homie.
That's a man's misfortune, but I'm just saying we contrasting here, right?
Right. No, that's a damn good point.
So Al Nuke reached out to people who he knew were connected to QCP.
Right.
There are things that transpired between me and QCP that I didn't talk about. I have told you about them.
Right.
You know about it.
Yeah. Allegedly, I know about nothing that happened.
Yeah, right. That type of shit, right?
Yeah, nothing that happened.
Al Nuke reached out to people who he thought could lead him to QCP, offering information about me. The same way he just put my address and all my little so-called business. Right. That ain't none of my business, bro. He at the same way he tried to put that shit in the street. So you know he's capable of doing it because you just watched him. Knowing I got a problem with the Rollos of the world and the QCPs of the world, you watch that man take an address that he believes is mine, which is mine, and put it, but he lives in Atlanta. He's Zaytoven's manager. So you know he knows these people. He don't know QCP. He don't know Rollo. He was just with Rollo and Queen last week. They pulled up on him. He was just with Queen, who was one of Rollo's managers, and Rollo, he was just around them last week.
He told me they've been on. He told me they both been on the weight loss challenge together. Him and Pete. That's what they.
But you don't get the fuck on. Yeah, shit, man. Whatever, bro. But long story short, so the person who he reached out to, right? He didn't know that person was affiliated with my nigga OG Freeze. And it was also a person who didn't like QCP.
So you got word.
So you thinking, so motherfucker called Freeze, because Freeze is they had the same affiliation.
Right.
And
I'm
Freeze
following you with the affiliation.
So Freeze is big OG from the Fed joint to the street.
Right. So it got to come past him.
So it can't, because they know he with me every day. So when they heard the name Dogface, first of all, you don't know you're talking to an enemy of P. You know, their family, they ain't really enemies, but they ain't cool.
Right.
And this person is the same affiliation with OG Freeze.
Right. So he ran it up the line.
Right. So he ran it. What?
Right.
So he called Freeze, like, man, this is a nigga named Al Nuke trying to reach out to P, talking about some nigga named Dogface. It's the same Dogface that you be with, Freeze.
Right.
Freeze called me like, man, who the fuck is Alvin Nuke or Al Nuke? Because he don't know the nigga. He said,
so now you know it's real because you don't even know this nigga.
You only know this nigga. I said, he called me. Swear to God. I put it, he.
You already showed me. You already showed. He already showed me.
Everybody in my clique down in Atlanta. I have family and friends and associations in Atlanta, right? We all there when because we met up later on that day. He called me like, man, who the fuck is Alvin Nuke? Al, who the fuck is that? Right? I said, he said he from Detroit or something. I'm like, yeah, nigga, that's Zaytoven manager, nigga from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, that nigga ain't right. That nigga trying to reach out to P through Blase Splee, not knowing the Blase Splee. I'm OG on that, right?
Organization.
Offering information on you. Bro.
Now, y'all in YouTube world may not know, but I can't speak for your state. This is one of the biggest violations of being from Michigan. And that's where Al Nuke reached out to me because I made a video calling him out for that because it's even black, white, Chaldean, it does not matter. That is the biggest violation for Michigan once because we always being, I don't know the word I want to use, but when you leave here with a Michigan tag on your car, how you get treated is crazy. So us sticking together outside of this bitch is paramount.
So to get back to me, I showed you my phone records, bro. I showed you my text message. So when I found this out, right? Now, mind you, how you know what I'm about to say rings true is because of this. Because of what Al Nuke has said. Al Nuke said that I have been talking to him crazy and he let it go. Right? Right? He said 2 times, right? My nigga, I showed you text messages going back to 2020 when I have cut into that nigga raw about the artist, the R&B artist, the Natari chick, about all the little pillow talking he was doing, which is what him and Leatherback Wine got in common, right?
Yeah, and he trying to accuse you of being the one that was doing some pillow talking with the artist. I mean, that was the whole point of him coming on because it's like I can't speak for you, but you come onto my platform and speak for yourself.
Hey, listen, pillow talking with the artist, I put all the money up. I found her. You heard him say that Dogface, I'm working with Dogface on this. Dogface, right? Her father, 5-star Nick, who's one of Blade's best friends, is his daughter. Arius, aka Notori, right?
Right.
He sent it to me before, but I didn't have time to deal with the shit. And when I did listen to it, it wasn't there. It took Dogface to go to the studio with her and create music and present it, right?
Right.
Here's what you don't know, bro. I'm gonna give you a scoop. When I we went to the studio and I completed 2 songs with her. Our studio session was at midnight to 3 a.m., right? When she got off work. She worked for Alicia's office, but she had a kid, so she had to get a kid situated. So we went on from midnight to 3 a.m. She did 2 songs. She wrote 2 fucking songs, bro, in a half hour.
Good shit.
2 songs. Life and I think it was Therapy, right? 2 songs, right? I typed up a contract via in my email.
That I seen.
You seen the date, all that shit on there, right?
Right.
She was so good that the engineer was like, bro, where the fuck you get her from?
Right.
She listened to the beat. She started humming. She went in the booth and freestyled a hit fucking record. Think I'm talking about Scissor. This shit cold as fuck, right?
Right.
He said, where the fuck you find her at? I said, bro, I don't know. Her sister, who's a rapper under me, named Pretty Young Bitch, is the one who told me that she could sing.
Okay.
Right? So that's how I became familiar with it, right? When she got done, I was so excited about how good the songs were. I sent the songs to Al Nuke at 3:30 in the morning when I was driving home from the studio.
As soon as you left the studio.
He told me, he the next morning he said, bro, stop calling me 3:30 in the morning. Nigga, my girl think it's a bitch calling. I had to show her, because my phone, I was calling nigga like, nigga, I found one. Right? I found one.
So the music was that good when you first heard it, pumped up.
Natari, the project is called Bittersweet with production from Helliver, TNB Beats, who were part of OVO camp, Drake OVO camp in Toronto. I produced one of the songs on there myself. I learned how to make beats during the pandemic, so I produced one of the songs. Helliver's on there. Dre Butters is on there. Cassius J is on there from ATL. So listen, bro. I sent the songs to him and I called him, followed up. I sent it to him and I called her. She the one, Nuke. She the one. Let's try to get her a deal. Show her to Zay. Right. When the pandemic shut the world down, Zaytoven was inviting artists to his home to perform on live.
Right.
On live at his home. He had a sound stage set up. He played the drums and the keyboards and shit. She was the first person that performed on Zaytoven's live when the pandemic shut the world down. Right?
Okay.
Right. I paid for all 6 songs. You want to know what the fallout was? The fallout is that I took her to Al Nuke and Zay and presented the 2 songs with her. I didn't have a management contract or a record deal with her, bro. I had a 6-song production agreement with her. There was no time on it. There was no, you have to do this by this certain time. There was no requirements that she must do it or any of that. The agreement just said, you read it.
You getting the 6 songs. Basically, I'm getting 6 songs.
I'm paying for everything.
Right.
I spent $25,000 on a 6-song EP. $25,000 on production, Bear on the Beat, TNB Beats from Toronto, Helliver. Cassius J didn't charge me because I had one of his beats. He didn't charge me. He blessed me with it and told me if it hit a certain benchmark, then he wanted his
piece.
That was the song called Life on the project.
Which is doable.
Dre Butters. Me and Dre Butters, I took her to Dre Butters in Atlanta. Dre Butters was working out of the basement studio, who is Corey Mo from Houston, who lives in Atlanta, UGK name, right? And Jazzy Faye studio. Dre Butters working out of Jazzy Faye's studio. I took her there, right? I paid Dre Butters out of my pocket. But here you go. She ain't had no sponsor. All that money came from me. It was all me. I paid Dre Butters to make the beat. I think it was like $2,000 I gave Dre Butters. I paid him for the recording session because it's not his studio. It's Corey Mo and Jazzy Faye studio. So
this ain't no cheap recording time either.
No.
Right. Because they could be making their own shit in there.
I spent $10,000 on the beats alone. I sent the beats to Abel, mixed it down there in Florida, Tampa Bay. Abel charged $500 to mix the motherfucker. To mix it. Another $250 to put the mastering polish on the bitch. So it's $750
each song.
Right? Each song, right?
You know we over 25,000 by now, right?
I'm not. Hey, listen, bro. And then on top of that, I gave all the producers. I paid them, and I gave all the producers for the TNB Beats beat. I gave TNB Beats $5,000 for the one beat. And he required I give him his pub. Right. And I gave him I gave everybody their pub, even though I paid him. Only person I didn't pay was Cassius J. He was the only one because he told me, bro, you can have the beat if it meet a certain benchmark, you can have it. Right?
Right. That was love.
Studio time. Unlimited studio time. I didn't rush her. Dre Brothers can hear this shit, right? He can attest to it. We was in Jazzy Faye studio for 6 hours. This Jazzy Faye, nigga. The basement, I think is what it was called. There was no expense. I went and bought food, drank, whatever. I don't drink. I don't drink, I don't smoke, bro. I'm trying to let it be 99. Right? We went to my man at ET&T studio with my man DJ Brad of Dungeon Family fame, the world famous DJ Brad. Shit ain't cheap. In Austell, Georgia. Shit wasn't cheap, right? Listen, bro. I had the song on the radio in Detroit and Tampa Bay. In Detroit, Tampa Bay, Birmingham, Memphis, St. Louis. I had her lead single on iHeartRadio and Radio 1 in Detroit, Tampa Bay, Memphis, Tennessee, Detroit, Tampa Bay, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, Birmingham, Alabama, Detroit, Memphis, Tampa Bay, Memphis, St. Louis, Birmingham, Alabama. I had her lead single on the air. The goddamn song wasn't even out on iTunes yet.
Them a lot of markets.
That I ain't gonna get into the finances of that because that's internal shit. But it was not cheap, my nigga. Right? I didn't pillow talk with her. I wasn't fucking her. After I presented 2 songs to her, right? Al New called me and said, man, no, Natari got a problem with you. Because she said you be calling women bitches and hoes on Instagram.
What they got to do with business?
I said, don't forget, this was November of 2019. The pandemic shut the world down in March of 2020.
Right.
So in the production agreement, which you read, he said somebody, it was a 6-song thing. And
he was saying it was 6 albums.
Juan-o, I sent you the contract.
I know, I seen this 6 songs.
And she
bringing him on here so he can speak for us.
She never signed it with a physical pen. I wrote the contract in an email while we were in the studio. I emailed it to her. She looked at it and she sent it back, agreed. And I sent it back and said, no.
She said
I confirmed I agreed to this. So now it's a legal binding document, even though it has no physical signature on it. Right. I later provided her with a copy of it, but that's a legal binding document because she agreed to it. It's boom, boom, boom. So if there ever an issue, that's stand up in the court of law. Well, Dogface is a nerd. How did he type up a contract like that? Because I ain't stupid, nigga. Because what the fuck is you talking about, nigga? I've studied the music business, nigga. I'm around I was around Carol Dorsey, BG Auntie. When BG got pushed out of Cash Money Records, he came to Detroit.
That's a fact.
Around Showboat, Kid the Best on the Board. All them boys. Before he went to jail last time. Chopper City Records started in Detroit, not New Orleans. Big Red Garrett, who owns Hazel Place on Michigan Avenue, he was the bankroll behind BG. And his aunt, Carol Dorsey, who his mama Vincent's sister lived here. That's why BG came to Detroit. He didn't come to Detroit for no reason. And they started Chopper City Records here in Detroit. Right? So I was around Carol Dorsey, who was a shark, nigga, when it comes to this shit. I learned contract writing, contract negotiation from Carol Dorsey. Right?
And that's what you put that one together with.
I learned contract negotiation from Floss a lot. I paid Floss to teach me how to do split sheets. I paid Helva's manager, said, hands up, teach me how to do a sync agreement for a movie. I paid niggas to teach me the game. I'm a fast student.
Right.
I paid for the knowledge to know how to do contract writing, language negotiation. I studied this shit, nigga.
Right.
Ain't nothing slick about being stupid and slow, bro.
Tell him.
Ain't nothing slick about that. Oh, he's a nerd. He typed it up. Yes, I did. You know why? Because I'm a motherfucking. This motherfucker work.
Man,
listen.
I get tired of people trying to downplay that.
Listen, fast forward. Al Nuke called me and said, man, after I gave him the 2 songs, Al Nuke said, well, I ain't trying to shop these songs or push them. Because we had a 2-pronged attack. If the songs are excellent, so we can try to get her a deal, or we can try to sell these songs. So right. Al Nuke sent the songs to, I believe, Mark Pitts, who's a part of the Mary J's camp, because he had a plug with them, right?
Manager, dude.
He sent the shit to Chubby Baby during the pandemic, and Chubby Baby played the songs on he did a music review during the pandemic, and Al sent the song to Chubby Baby, and he put the song on there, and Chubby Baby loved it and said, I'm going to send her to Ayo and Keys, who are 2 of the biggest songwriters from Atlantic Records in the world right now. Right? Okay. He said, man, I'm really trying to push this shit because I ain't got no, I'm really pushing your shit with her. This is your shit. I said, bro, in the agreement, it says that we can't relinquish or give away each other's rights. That's what the agreement say. Go back and look at it. And it says that before she can't give away anything. I wanted to lock her in. You can't give away nothing without going through me. You can't give away no percentage of your share of the songs, publishing, masters, none of that. Without
you got her locked in to where she get her 50%, but she can't sign her 50%.
You can't sign it over without me agreeing to it. So if that was some, oh, that nigga slick, you motherfucking right, because you know why I'm paying for this shit. So how dare I never gonna let you give my work product away when I paid for everything. Oh, I wrote the songs, I sung them, and without the money, it wouldn't happen, motherfucker. Right? So I locked her in before you, and I said any marketing, advertising, any videos, anything that's related to this particular body of work, I have to give final approval before you can do anything. I put the money up. Why would I do that? Why shouldn't I do that? Fuck is you talking about, nigga?
It's only right.
Right? So listen, he called me, he said, man, Natari said she ain't really feeling you, man, because you be calling women bitches and hoes and your social media, like the shit I do right now.
Right.
So I said to him, nigga, why she feel comfortable telling you that? I brought her to you, like he said.
Right.
Why she feel comfortable telling you that about me when she don't even know you, bro?
Right.
He had never met her before. 5-Star Nick had sent her daddy had sent Al Nuke some songs years before that. He had never met her before. So why all of a sudden, when I'm the one paying for everything, do she come to you and feel comfortable with you telling you something about me?
Right.
Now, mind you, we did the first 2 songs the first day I met her at the studio. I had never met her before. Her sister's the one who told me about her. So that's how I even discovered her, found out about her to begin with, right?
Right.
So when she said that, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So Al Nuke was like, man, well, I push these songs, but I ain't got no interest in it. I said, bro, he seen the agreement. He's a liar when he said he did. I showed it to him.
Right.
I'm fucking with the nigga. Why wouldn't I show it to him? Ain't no slave deal. It was not a management contract.
Nope.
It was not a record deal.
It was a fair deal. She just couldn't sell it without,
It was a production agreement. So when she said that, I don't even question her about whether what he's saying is true or not. I'm taking his word, right? So that's November of 2019. Let's fast forward 2020. I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now. When he called me and he said, I got a deal on the floor for her. We had 2 songs done.
Right.
We had a 6-song agreement. There was no time limit specifying when that project had to be done. There was nothing that stopped her or precluded or excluded her from entering into a management deal or a record deal with anybody. And in fact, it was in my best interest if she did get a deal because I know I got 2 songs right here. I wasn't trying to stop her. I was trying to push her. Look at all this shit I did for her.
But you are in a position to make sure don't nobody else get over on her too.
I wasn't her manager, bro.
But with the contract you had, you could stop her from taking a bad deal.
Those songs, no. Oh. I can't stop her from doing no kind of deal. I only had influence over the 6 songs that we did together. Go back and read it. I was not her representation. I was not her manager. And she wasn't signed to a record deal. She was signed to a 6-song production agreement between her and I, where I would foot the bill and she would do the artistry shit.
See, that's what the trickery coming in at, because he made it seem like
the world of contracts.
Right. Because he made it seem like your contract made anything else she would have did.
Not true. Not true. Read it. I'm gonna send it to you again.
Right. I got it. I'm about to go back through it.
I'm finna send it to you right now. Hold on.
This nigga keep his receipts on file.
It's a contract, bro. I paid $25,000, nigga.
Right.
What we talking about here? Hold on. I'm finna send it to you.
Shit, you got the screen. You know that, right?
Yeah, but is it on here? I could.
I mean, all I got to do is click on it, but it's still your screen.
Yeah. Yeah, go. Hold on, let me get to it. Join me on the stream.
That's your screen right there.
Oh yeah, this funny right here. Let me play this right here.
I don't gotta be bitter. What you gotta do is do better, nigga. Cause I could really get to talking about how you set up and you told me about you and Phil time in the feds. I'm sorry, Pete. Y'all time in the feds together and how you had to protect him. I could get to talking about how you really feel about Hellebuck, your twin. Same birthday, all that. How you really feel about him. How you think he part of the police too. But I'm not doing that.
Man, some shit. We're gonna get in that right now. But so listen. So go back full screen.
These salacious details here.
Salacious is a motherfucker. So listen. So I just sent it to you.
Right.
Doc, open that motherfucker up and read that bitch, Juan-o. So let's make sure we're going to dispel all rumors, all lies. Let me know when you get it.
I got it. I, Aris, never not leave her name out. Hereby agree to the following terms and conditions with Dogface Calderon, aka we're gonna leave that out. CEO of Planet Rock DJs LLC. A production deal whereby we will complete 1 musical EP extended play project consisting of 6 songs. This is why they fucking with him, because he ain't miss a word. B, I agree that all revenue generated from the project, including streams, download, for pay, booking fees were in which I see you, nigga. Performing artists will be performing any other titles from this project EP entitled The Best of What Can Happen.
We changed that term to Bittersweet, the lead single.
Go ahead. This is where Dogface is 100 at. We will split 50-50 with Dogface Calderon. Now, he's not even subtracting production costs, studio costs, or none of them costs in this contract. And that's more or less where I got stuck at, because when I saw that, there's no way a person who had ill intentions will write a contract and they leave that out, but they but they remember to add all the adjectives. That doesn't happen.
Juan-o, when you get a record deal, they give you a budget, right? They give you an advance.
Yeah.
They taking their motherfucking production costs back. They
Most
taking their marketing budget back. I ain't take shit back. I spent it for her from penny one.
Yeah, 50-50. That never happens.
Never happens, my nigga. I'm paying for everything.
Never.
You pay 1 penny, nigga. I paid for food, drinks, everything, nigga.
But hold on, it gets a little deeper because I agree that all promotional, advertising, and marketing campaigns, including associated artwork videos associated with above-mint projects, shall be approved by Dogface Calderon before release into public domain. That's him agreeing to pay for how she wants to be presented, long as he gets to approve it.
Mm-hmm.
I really, do you want me to go on?
No, because we don't lie about how I took advantage of a motherfucker.
I agree to a 50-50 publishing split with Dogface Calderon on all songs for the project for the lifetime of the recording.
Now watch this. Let me hip you the game. I agreed to a 50-50 publishing split with Dogface. Now, mind you, I told you that every producer, all 6 producers, I'm one of the producers though.
Right.
I produced one song called Anything on the project, right? I made that beat right here where I'm sitting right now. So I took my pub off my beat. So the producer gets 50% of the publishing of the song, and the person who wrote it gets 50% of the song, which makes it 100%.
Right.
I gave the producers their 50%.
Right.
I gave them their 50%. So that's automatically gone from me.
Right.
Come on, keep on reading.
So it's no public, basically it's no publishing money he's
coming from that I'm gonna get.
Right.
Because I gave them their pub.
Yeah, so at best with this contract, all he could have pulled is probably 10% administration fee because the publishing money would have came to his company. That's at best.
And I have a publishing. It's Planet Rock DJs Publishing. Like Puffy had Bad Boy Records, but he also has Bad Boy Publishing.
Right.
I'm the administrator of all this shit coming from that.
So that means he could have published it through his publishing company and kept most of all that, but he didn't do that.
I did publish it through my publishing company. She didn't have one, or at least she didn't tell me she had one at that point in time, right? So I pushed it through my shit, but she got her full pub though as far as writer's credit.
So that's even deeper. So you took a tax hit for that, because if you published it through her publishing company, through your publishing company, but you gave her 50% and the producers 50%, but you took in the money, so you took a tax hit.
Here you go. Here got a fucking tax bill. Here you go.
Okay. Now I see why you made sure you pulled up on me tonight. This is side note, this is one of the most fairest contracts I've ever seen. And you will never get a record deal where everything is included all in one page. Never. It doesn't get any more fair than that. You know.
Okay, so watch this. So where do you see that she is bound to me? Where
there's no contract start or limitations dates. There's no what would that term be? We're in a certain amount of time. There's no
time frame. There's no we have to get it completed within 6 months, 8 months. There's no time frame. There's no restrictions on it. There's no must do anything. There's nothing in there saying you must do this. Nothing that says if you stop doing this, you're going to be held for that. None of that.
None of that.
Right then, and it would have been no thing.
He don't even have a recoup clause in here. So basically, she could have signed a record deal with anybody and gave him one. She could have signed a 6-album deal and gave him one song an album if she wanted to, or she could have signed.
She didn't give me any songs on her album, right? There was nothing saying you must complete this thing.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
There's no time frame or time span. It says you have to do it. It was an open-ended situation. She paid for nothing. So when niggas say, "Oh, it's a 6-album deal,"
Nah, it was just for the 6 songs.
A 6 song, no management, no record deal, no none of that kind of shit. Now
And then,
everything. What the fuck he talking about? He lied.
and when you a new artist and you come in like that, they typically put a mixtape or EP out on you anyway. So like this would have been a perfect win-win.
Listen, and then I was gonna get even less as far as pub go, because in order to get Al Nuke to try to shop or push these songs, I agreed to give him half of my 50%.
Your 50%, which you already whittled down to damn near nothing. As your lawyer,
I said, listen, bro.
I would advise to get some of this.
I said, listen, bro, get her a deal. Right. Get her a deal, bro. I signed over 50%. I signed over half of my 50% because she get 50%. I get 50% of the pub. I will give you half of mine. So you have a dog in the fight. You have a stake. So you ain't just pushing her shit and then somebody can decide not to fuck with you if we get, because it's unscrupulous behavior going in the music business, right? Right. You can have mine. Don't worry, let's go ahead. So listen, we only had 2 songs done. That bitch ass nigga called me March 12th of 2020 and said, I have a potential deal on the floor where they gonna give her $150,000 budget. I think he said $100,000 to the budget, 50 to her pocket, right? He said, but it's a catch, right? I'm sitting right where I'm sitting right now, my nigga. I said, what's the catch? It's March 12th. The world shut down.
Just shut down,
right? He said, the complication is you had this agreement, you had this contract with baby girl, and you know what I'm saying? They don't want to sign her with a standing contract between her and nobody else. So you got 2 options. Juan-o, if I'm lying, may all of my kids die right now. May all of my kids die right now if I'm telling you one lie. May they die right now if I'm telling you one lie. May the Lord himself strike my children, smite them, and kill them if I'm lying to you about what I'm going to tell you. He said, you have 2 options. I sat back in my seat.
You want to hear this shit?
In my mind, I said, I want to hear this shit. Right. Because nigga, I had never cussed him out. I had never disrespected the man before.
Right.
I always had bigged up him and saluted him for embracing me. You know what I'm saying? I never made 1 penny off Al Nuke. Never. He made money off me. I'm the one who brought Zaytoven to Detroit the first time in 2015.
Right. All of this shit he's saying, I got receipts for it. I don't know how much memory this nigga has, but I don't have as much memory as Dogface. So, but he got receipts for any of this shit, and he'll text you in a heartbeat. But Zaytoven first show here, when he was trying to, what was he coming from under Gucci? Or what Gucci was in jail?
2014, Gucci was locked up and going and doing legal shit. Right. The very first time Zaytoven had stepped foot in Detroit, I brought him here. I orchestrated it with Black the Don. I DJ'd the event, everything. I set up the performance so people could perform in front of Zaytoven. Right. All that shit.
And it was like Zaytoven came here as like he was like an artist, like not like it was a producer. It was like he was the artist with a show.
Yes, so, he was yes, right. $5,000. And Al Nuke was his manager, so Al Nuke got 20%. So when you see there ain't no money off of me, you a lie. I brought Zaytoven to Detroit.
And solidified his position as a manager. Like I can make shit shake when shit ain't shaking.
Right. So listen, he called me. He said, man, you got 2 options. You can sign and nullify the production agreement y'all have, where it's all I have is the 2 songs that we already have, which I've already agreed to give him 50% of my 50%.
Right.
Right. You can sign. You can nullify the contract. Bro, he was doing this shit trying to help her because she had already said she don't like me. He's really trying to help her get from under the production agreement with me, which was non-binding to begin with, right? He's trying to be slick. He's trying to be unscrupulous and trying to be slick. He's a bitch. But let me tell you what he did, right? He said, you got 2 options. One, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strike my kids to the ground if I lie to you one time. He said, you got 2 options. One, you can nullify the contract saying it's no longer binding, right? So she don't owe me 4 songs, or she don't owe us 4 songs, right? And he said, you can do that, or you can complete the 6-song project so that it's exhausted. So once it's exhausted, that's we done. We done. This is March 12th of 2020.
Right.
Right? Let me make sure. I ain't telling you no lie.
We know you got your dates right.
Hold on, bro. Let me go to 2020. Hold on, I'm tell you. Hold on. Whoa, yeah. March 12th, 2020 was a Thursday, right? Don't forget. Listen, we had 2 songs done while this is March.
Right.
When the pandemic started shutting the world down, I ain't see her. She live in Atlanta. I'm back up here in Detroit. I hadn't moved to Atlanta. I'm back in Detroit, my nigga. I'm in Grosse Pointe, right? He said you got 2 options. One, you can nullify the contract saying no further obligation towards that, or you can complete the project. And when you complete the 6 songs, 4 more songs, that will end our agreement because the songs will be done, right? So I said to myself, this nigga trying to be slick. At this point, this was the first time I cussed this bitch ass out. Right? So I said, oh, that's my choices, huh? Remember what I said, if I lie to you, I hope my kids die. I said, did my choices? I already got a place in Atlanta. He don't know I got a place in Atlanta, right? My daughter is a nurse. Don't forget, we could not drive during the pandemic unless you was a first responder, right?
Right.
I had my daughter to give me a first responder letter so I could travel.
I get your ass down there, huh?
So I was able to leave from my house because flights, everything was suspended. I was able to leave from my house, come to my office. Man, during the pandemic, niggas want to come to my office, bro. I got TV, food. We can barbecue out back. You know what I'm saying? It's all gated and secure, everything. I was able to avoid being bored in the monotony of the pandemic shutting the world down. So I was able to go from my house to because my daughter is a first responder.
So
I was taking her to work at Henry Ford Hospital. So I'm a first responder too. You hear me? I told this nigga on March 12th, 2020, I said, because I hadn't talked to her since because she stopped talking to me. He got her. He fucking on her.
In her head.
He in her head, right? So I said, I said, hold on. I picked up my other phone. I called DJ Brad. I said, Brad, where you at, Brad? He said, I'm in Austell. Right? I said, man, I need to get in that studio, my nigga. He said, where you at? I said, I'm in Detroit, but my artist down there in Atlanta. I need to get in the studio Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 5 hours apiece. Right? I got to complete 4 songs. He said, bet, doggy. I click on Al Nuke. I said, Brad, text me the address, Brad. He texted me the address. We went to ET&T Studios in Austell. I text Al Nuke the address to the studio. I said, we're going to be in the studio Friday. Today is Thursday, nigga. March 12th, 2020. I said, Brad texted me the address. I forwarded it to him. I said, we're going to be in the studio for 5 hours, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right? $150 an hour. Even though I was mad because how she played me with the nigga talking about I don't fuck with him. We hadn't talked. Her and I had not talked since the end of November. We had not had a conversation since November 29th. And that was by text.
Since you basically introduced her to Al Nuke.
Yes.
Understood.
Right. We had last time her and I spoke. And me and her didn't even spoke then. Al Nuke was on the phone speaking for her.
Hey, look, I got one question. Do you think a real label looked at that contract because they would have already knew it was non-binding and stuff?
No, bro.
Like
he was trying to help her get from up under me and say fuck me, which is what this bitch ass was trying to do. Right?
But it wasn't like you had a heavy thumb on her though.
Bro, listen, he a manipulative ass nigga. Don't forget, he utilized the art of war and the art of the 48 laws of power to try to maneuver and manipulate shit. That's what he do. So Pete,
There's more books to read, people out there. There's more books to read.
Besides that shit, listen. Listen, read the Aquarian Gospel, which really destroys the art of war, art of seduction, the art of in the 48 laws of power. Read the sectarian books. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. So I said, have it ready. He was shocked. He know I'm in Detroit. I said, have her at the studio Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 hour blocks. I said, here go the address. Text me the address. We went to the studio because she got off work. Oh, she was working at the leasing office in the apartment structure that she lived in. We went to the studio from 12 to 5, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Which the 12th was a Thursday, 13th was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 13th, 14th, 15th, we went to the studio 5 hour blocks, 5 days. I called Helliver, nigga. I called Helliver and I said, hell, Therapy was produced by Bear on the Beat from Sacramento, California. Bear on the Beat. Life was produced by Cassius J. I called Helliver, Dre Butters, and TNB Beats from Toronto, part of Drake's OVO camp.
Right.
And I said, send me some beats. I got an R&B artist. Send me some beats. I need them right now. Helliver said, let me hear her songs. I sent Helliver Life and Therapy. He said, I got her. She on the SZA, Summer Walker type vibe.
Put something together just for her.
Helliver stopped what he was doing right there and made a beat for me. TNB Beats sent me beats, right? I sent the beats to DJ Brad. I emailed them to him, and I sent the beats to her, to Al Nuke, to her phone, because I ain't talking to her.
Thursday.
Yes.
Right. So you could be prepared when I get down there.
I got off the phone with him, went, packed my bag, got my first responder letters like I traveled. I drove to Atlanta, nigga. I got to Atlanta in 9 hours. I was driving so fast. What am I on the road?
Fuck it.
What am I on the road? But not even police on the road, right? I get out there Friday. I left out here about 7 o'clock. I got to Atlanta about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. No, I left. Yeah, but I got to Atlanta. I left out here 7 p.m. I got to Atlanta at about 5 in the morning. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. 9.5 hours I got there, right?
That ain't too bad.
Right, 6.75, right? We got to the studio that day. Later that day, went to the studio, but at 12. I ain't get no sleep, my nigga. I took me a shower, went to the studio, bought food. She came with her baby daddy the first time. Well, her boyfriend, not her baby daddy. She had a baby daddy. I forget his name. Right. She came with him. I guess she probably thought it was gonna be awkward between me and her. I let her work. I let her do her thing.
You still the same.
I'm still the same. I know you crossed me, bitch, but it's all good. I ain't tripping. Cause I'm smelling the rat hole move right here, but I ain't tripping. Go ahead and get done. Because my thing is, so as the songs were getting completed, as she was completing it, she did those 3 songs. She did 1 song the first day, got brain locked, did 2 songs the next day, which is Saturday. Sunday, she did the last song. The last song was a song she did on my beat. Right. It was like a hustle ballroom song, right? As she's finishing them, I'm sending them Al Nuke. First thing he said to me was, why you sending me these?